So recently I got asked in email, what truck would you buy if it was a half ton? What's the most reliable truck? So have any hurricanes died like the Tundras? Are they spinning main bearings? Are they having issues? Electronics, all these things. I'm going to go through all the issues and then actually some recommendations at the end for the person that wrote the email to me. So we'll start out going by some of the issues that I think you can expect to see with these hurricanes and really mostly the new electrical platform that they're just having problems with it the first, second year. They're going to have issues. This is every manufacturer. The good news is I don't see a lot of massive powertrain issues, but I did find a couple that had failed. So a lot of people wonder, have any of these hurricanes been failing? And yes, they have, but not in the numbers like the 2022 through 2023 Tundra, not like the 6.2 liter GMs that have been failing, not nearly the same rate. And there's only been a couple that I found in the Facebook group. So overall, the hurricane has been very reliable. But this guy, he had a 2025 Warlock, June 29th, drove it 700 miles to New Jersey. Engine started smoking and oil leaking. He says he brought it to a New Jersey dealership and was told there's an internal engine leak and to get Stellantis engineering involved and keep it for at least a week. And there was one other person that replied to him in the comments. He said just dropped his off at the dealership, 194 miles. Looks like it could be a similar issue. So it does seem like if there are failures, and I honestly, I haven't found really many other than maybe these two in this Facebook group for the hurricane owners. So they seem to be very early on engine failures if they do have them. This engine was in the Jeep for a couple years and they didn't have many failures other than the thermostat issue and the catalytic converter issue. They're not having like spinning main bearings. That's one advantage to the straight six. You do have more torque spread across more main bearings. So the design of the engine has been pretty good as far as robustness of the powertrain. It's just, all the electronics, the hoses, the plastic, the other stuff around it. And he did give an update to this post. He said, confirmed the engine will have to be replaced in the truck. He will be out for several more weeks. So this is an example. This guy was driving at night and his truck started bucking and his lights started flickering. So this is kind of what it looks like. And there ends up being on the intake, it looks like there's this hose that pops off. There's a clip inside of that. I'm not sure what that part is. I didn't look it up, but that pops off and then your air fuel mixture is all messed up. And I'm sure the computer is just misreading things. So this is a common issue that this guy ended up zip tying it, but other people have just re-clipped it back on and they hope for the best. See stuff like this all the time with this new electronics in these Rams. This happened 5 times today, not even 20 miles an hour. He's getting a 4-wheel drive system temporary unavailable on his dash. And stuff like this happens a lot in these message groups. And this warning message comes up a lot. You've probably seen this from other YouTubers. They get check engine lights randomly. A lot of electrical gremlins. This dealership said they're working on an update for this. They claim it's not a bad wiring harness or cluster, but they're not able to figure these issues out. People get these warning light illumination unavailable, service required. Usually the dealers aren't sure what the problem is and they're chasing gremlins. In this guy's case, he said the Ram dealer has 4 other trucks behind his with the same issue. They're hoping to learn on his truck and figure it out. And I've seen multiple people get stranded in these hurricanes where it just doesn't want to start. And what a lot of people are saying is basically bring a wrench with you and unhook the battery, let it drain for a couple minutes and then rehook the battery back up and it usually starts up. But a lot of these guys, they'll just have the truck die. This guy has 11,000 miles. He tried jumping it, can't get it to start. And then all of a sudden, after waiting 2 hours for the tow truck not to show up, the truck ends up starting. Again, electrical gremlins, a lot of people say the fixes for these things have been just reboots, whether it's, this and parasitic battery drain issues and other things that are going on. This guy, same thing, parasitic battery drain. He tried to jump it, couldn't get it to jump. This guy, same thing, hadn't had a problem for 2,800 miles. He has the 2025 Warlock. See, this is something that a lot of folks were saying, like, hey, if you get the Warlock or the Tradesman, maybe you can have, fewer electronics. Maybe it's the dash clusters that are all digital, but that's actually not the case here. This guy, the same thing happened. He was stranded, and my guess is if he had just unplugged his battery, plugged it back in, he may have been able to get this to restart. They do have also issues with these infotainment screens. I know TRD John has mentioned how his is a little bit slow. You know, this is what happens. You put these big 14-inch, whatever they are, screens in these trucks, and you got computers communicating, and boy, there's a lot of quality assurance that has to go into this to test it out. This guy gets a blue screen. Actually, the fix for this is to, again, reboot the infotainment screen. I think if you hold the power button down for like 10 seconds, it'll reboot it. That's the fix currently. And these pop up quite frequently. This guy says, hey, he spoke too soon. He walked out of work and his truck's dead. Again, parasitic battery drain, the guy below him. Battery bug, you bit me at 5,700 miles. Yeah, you know, people don't know why. Just randomly walk out and their truck's dead, won't start. And occasionally you'll get the catalytic converter issue. I guess they had some problems with the catalytic converters early on. There's been other YouTubers that have done videos on this. It's because on the inline 6 engine, you get these stacked catalytic converters and they're right next to each other. And it really heats up on that one side. I don't know if it's the quality of the catalytic converters or something else. A lot of people claim that you need a software update. If catalytic converters are frying, that could be expensive at a warranty. So again, you know, these trucks outside of warranty might end up being just like everybody else. There's also, previously, there was a thermostat issue with these Hurricane engines. So keep an eye on your coolant temperature if you do get one of these things, because that can kill your engine. These thermostats are rather complex. They're not like old school thermostats. So hopefully Ram has updated that thermostat. I haven't seen as many issues recently with that. But these are all what happens when you change all your electronic systems, new engine design. These issues are going to come up in the first and second and third model year. Another common one that people see is this max engine oil level exceeded. This comes up a lot. It's not necessarily that the engine oil is maxed out. It's just a problem with these electronic sensors. There is no dipstick in this engine, so another bonus for the modern truck era. And this is the last issue that I'll bring up. This guy says, you know, here we go again. Dealership had it 3 weeks. They said that new catalytic converters were the problem that he had, and then now he's still getting a lot of these codes even after getting new catalytic converter. He said the truck shudders and shakes when you let off the brake. Obviously running rough. Takes about 20 minutes of driving for it to all happen. So it's not all roses in the Hurricane world. You know, it just depends. Seems like a crapshoot. There are a lot of people, a lot of Hurricane owners in this Facebook group that don't have any problems, and they love them. And National Highway Traffic and Safety complaints. There's a lot of complaints on the 25 Ram. They got 104 complaints so far. Most of these, if you go through them, are all the stuff that we talked about. Electrical system, braking problems. Sometimes you come to a stoplight, and as you're slowing down, the engine just shuts off, won't turn back on. You got to put it in park. And by the way, I think a lot of these problems, or at least some of these problems, are still going to carry over to something like the V8 HEMI, because a lot of the electrical problems they're having aren't necessarily engine malfunctions. Anything that is shared common electrical problems between the HEMI and the Hurricane, they're going to kind of experience the same issue. It has nothing to do with V8 versus a turbo V6 or a turbo straight 6. So what do I think of the powertrain? I actually think the Hurricane straight 6, I like straight 6 engines. I love them. I think they're torquey, they're efficient, they generally have less vibration, they're just more fun to drive. So I think the straight 6 Hurricane with the ZF transmission, I think it's going to be a slightly more reliable powertrain than the 10-speed in the Fords and General Motors. I just do. I think it's going to be a better powertrain long term. Now, this is all speculation. I can't guarantee that. Boy, it's just my opinion. I just see, at least so far, fewer failures in the major components, the powertrain, the transmission, and the engine from Ram, which is odd, than I do General Motors, Ford, and Toyota. But, you know, that's not saying it's going to be perfect. You saw all those electrical problems. So I think it's just a pick your poison type world. I really don't think that there's a silver bullet, a super reliable half-ton right now. I do think there's an opportunity for Ram right here if they can get rid of these electrical gremlins, that Ram stands a chance to. They can prove this engine's reliable for like 3, 4, 5 years. Their transmissions are reliable. You're not having to replace valve bodies. I think they could have a winner here. Look, people are going to go to the turbo engines. Everyone's doing it. Trust me, everybody's going to be buying these because that's the only choice you're going to have. They're not going to sell a ton of Hemis long term. I think they're going to get rid of those. You'll see another administration come in and, you know, everything will go back to the same CAFE mandates. So I think that's not going to hold up. I think this is the future of what we're going to see in trucks. Twin turbo engines, 4-cylinder turbo engines. I think that's what we're going to see a lot of moving forward. That's just the world we live in. So would I buy one of these for myself? Actually, I would consider at least looking at them. I wouldn't trust the Toyotas yet. I still wouldn't trust General Motors and Ford yet. And I think their pricing, once you get into the baby Duramax for General Motors and some of the different configurations I might like, you're still looking at like $2,000 for a valve body upgrade if you really want to trust that thing. And then they have a wet oil pump belt in the Duramax. Ford has a wet oil pump belt in the 2.7. There's just things I really just don't like about all the other brands. And I actually so far like the design of an inline six like this. The high output or the standard output seem to be well built so far. Time will tell. I mean, it's only been a couple years. This thing could turn out to be a dud, but so far it's been pretty decent. Hope this helps you guys out and helps that viewer out that sent me the email. Thanks for watching. Till next time.